How did Bill Murray hurt himself while filming Ghostbusters Afterlife? Which iconic villain could make a big return in the sequel? And how will the new movie deal with the absence of Harold Ramis? Hi, I'm Clive, and you're watching Awesome Movies. Who you gonna call?
Hello, Ghostbusters. Yes, of course they're serious.
What's the deal with the marshmallows? Ghostbusters Afterlife is clearly out to reinvent the franchise, but that doesn't mean there won't be some callbacks to the 1984 original. It's already been confirmed that the movie will feature several Stay Puft Marshmallow Men, but they're quite different from the kaiju-sized menace that caused chaos in New York City back in the day. Paul Rudd's character is going to be in for a time of it, but at least the tasty little rascals seem intent on burning each other alive. That should make the Ghostbusters jobs easier. But this clip also raises some interesting questions about the long-awaited sequel story and the purpose of including some familiar-ish imagery. The first assumption is that the Ghostbusters Afterlife creators saw Baby Yoda capture people's hearts and imaginations in The Mandalorian, and wanted to get their franchise in on the adorable miniature action. Let's not forget that this is a family movie as well, so throwing in some mischievous marshmallow creatures makes sense from a merchandising standpoint. I mean, what kid won't want to play with cannibalistic marshmallow action figures after Ghostbusters Afterlife knocks their socks off? Of course, the more logical reason is that Gozer is coming back to finish what he started in 1984.
Something you don't see every day.
Some of the clues in the trailer point towards Gozer's return, but he won't be the only fan favorite from back in the day to make an appearance. The original Ghostbusters will be back in the fold too, but it came at a great cost to one actor's physical well-being. Bill Murray got hurt. Bill Murray is one of the main reasons why a third Ghostbusters movie failed to materialize for so long. But he's more open-minded these days. The Ghostbusters veteran will return as Dr. Peter Venkman, and he'll be joined by Ernie Hudson, Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver, and Annie Potts, all of whom will reprise their famous roles. However, while it's great to see Bill and the old gang back together, the actor didn't have the easiest experience while filming Ghostbusters Afterlife. The 70-year-old actor said that picking up the proton pack and chasing spooks around took its toll on his body, describing the experience as physically painful in an interview with Collider. Bill recalled spending much of the shoot covered in dirt and falling down. The film's special effects also meant that there was wind constantly in his face, which he wasn't a fan of at all. And if all of that wasn't bad enough, the experience of carrying the proton pack around was akin to deadlifting for the actor. At least Bill got to have a decent workout, and he'll undoubtedly look ripped on the big screen when Ghostbusters Afterlife makes its way to theaters. The actor also promised antsy fans that the movie will be worth the wait, but when can they actually get to see it? Release date predictions. The Ghostbusters can handle every supernatural threat known to man. If only they could do something about this gosh darn COVID situation. The Ghostbusters Afterlife release date has moved around more times than Slimer at a buffet, but certain recent developments in the movie world could have upped its chances of arriving sooner rather than later. As Forbes pointed out, the success of Godzilla vs. Kong could see Sony capitalize on the current hunger for blockbuster movies and bump Ghostbusters Afterlife up to May. There's nothing of note on April 30th and nothing at all on May 21st, so the company might see that as an opportunity to conquer the box office with the sequel. The fact that they released the aforementioned clip of Paul Rudd and the mini Marshmallow Man recently suggests that the powers that be are trying to build some hype for the movie. Let's not rule out a summer release quite yet. That said, November 11th is the expected release date at the time of this recording. That's still months away, but at least the fall season is a fitting time to release a movie about strange things running amok in the neighborhood. It's the spookiest time of year after all, and Ghostbusters Afterlife promises to be loaded with chills and thrills. The story will explore new ground. Fans can expect to see the OG Ghostbusters back in action, but this movie is all about a new setting and fresh characters. Gone is the Shandor building with its possessed gargoyles, haunted fridges, and creepy residents.
What I did, I climbed on the ledge and tried to disconnect the cable, but I couldn't get in, so you know what I did? I turned up my TV real loud too, so everyone would think that both our TVs had something wrong with it.
Ghostbusters Afterlife will swap the Big Apple for a small town in Oklahoma, replacing skyscrapers with a creepy old farmhouse and haunted mine shafts. It's hard not to think of Stranger Things and It while watching the trailer, as those also take place in Americana surroundings that just so happen to be at the epicenter of supernatural activity. Finn Wolfhard is one of the film's main stars as well, and that kid knows all about saving creepy small towns. In fact, he's basically the poster boy for this type of storytelling. Fear not though, angry fanboys. Ghostbusters Afterlife is a direct continuation of the first two movies, even though it does come across as a soft reboot that also stars women in meaningful roles. The new story will revolve around Egon's daughter and grandkids, who move to his farmhouse and discover his weird equipment. This is convenient considering that there are some spooky things going down in Oklahoma, and it's going to be up to Egon's grandchildren and other kids to save the day. With that in mind, we can expect the original Spook Slayers to show up and pass the proverbial torch to the new generation. This idea is quite reminiscent of the storyline in the highly underrated Extreme Ghostbusters cartoon. But previous iterations of the Ghostbusters 3 script also assume the mantle on younger characters. It seems that Ghostbusters Afterlife has plucked some ideas from different corners of the franchise, which goes to show that the movie has acknowledged the storied history that came before it. Now, let's examine some of the key moments of the trailer for more clues. One of the most notable scenes features a green glow bursting out of the mine. It would seem that the new heroes have discovered a Class 5 Spectre, and that vapor can only mean one thing. Slime time, baby!
Okay, Ray, just give me one hiding outside.
Granted, the new green light could be something else entirely, but how can you make a Ghostbusters movie without Slimer filling his belly and waggling his jelly? Slimer is harmless, though. The kids have bigger things to worry about than that lovable slob. If you pay close attention to the trailer, you'll notice that the mine is named after Ivo Shandor, who's the leader of a cult that worships Gozer. He's only mentioned in the movies, but players can go up against him in Ghostbusters the video game. It's highly likely that Ivo built this mine for his nefarious practices too, and Egon likely moved to Oklahoma to keep an eye on things. This basically confirms that Gozer will be the big bad in Ghostbusters Afterlife, or at least he'll be heavily referenced. If he is the baddie, let's hope the team can defeat him for good this time and start calling him Loser. Of course, some of the biggest questions in Ghostbusters Afterlife will pertain to Egon. When did he have a family? Will they share this enthusiasm for collecting spores, molds, and fungus? More importantly, how will the new movie fare without the late great Harold Ramis in his iconic role? Honoring an old friend. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Ernie Hudson picking up the proton packs again will be a bittersweet moment. But it's gonna be hella weird without their integral Force member. Not only was Harold Ramis one of the standout performers in the first two movies, but they probably wouldn't exist without him. He did co-write them after all. Honoring the legendary actor in Ghostbusters Afterlife is essential, but everyone involved understands that. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Dan Aykroyd assured fans that Harold will be well represented in the movie, hinting that Egon might make an appearance. Could this mean that we'll see Harold digitally resurrected for one last hurrah? Will his character appear in the form of a ghost? There's a lot of debate around the morality of bringing deceased actors back in a digital form. But if that's the route the creators of Ghostbusters Afterlife take, at least it'll come from a place of careful consideration and love for their friend. Then again, the trailer makes it clear that Egon will be well represented even if he doesn't make an appearance. The footage is packed with references to him, and the story is about his family. And if there's one thing Ghostbusters Afterlife is all about, it's family. Someone tell the Fast and the Furious saga to move over. The family connection. Remember that snot-nosed kid who sassed Ray and Winston at the birthday party in Ghostbusters 2?
You know, my dad says you guys are full of crap.
He really wasn't a fan of the Ghostbusters, but at least the actor who portrayed the little brat is. You see, the kid in question is none other than Jason Reitman, son of Ivan Reitman. Young Jason grew up to become a famous filmmaker just like his old man, and he was always going to be the most fitting candidate to replace him in the Ghostbusters director's chair. Jason understands this franchise, so he arguably has a better understanding of it than any other modern director working in Hollywood. He's also wanted to make a Ghostbusters movie ever since he was just a kid. Here's what he told Entertainment Weekly after Ghostbusters Afterlife got announced. "I've always thought of myself as the first Ghostbusters fan when I was a 6-year-old visiting the set. I wanted to make a movie for all the other fans. But here's the thing with legacy sequels, the filmmakers still have massive legacies to live up to. However, the word coming out of Ghostbusters Afterlife camp suggests that Jason knocked it out of the park. While speaking to Empire, he revealed that he showed his dad the movie, and Ivan couldn't have been happier with this effort. In fact, Jason noted that the experience was emotional. He took a test, put on a mask, and drove down to the Sony lot to watch the movie with the studio. And after, he cried. And he said, "I'm so proud to be your father, and it was one of the great moments of my life." Jason joining the franchise keeps it connected to its creative lineage, while also spearheading the series into the future. But what exactly will the future of Ghostbusters entail after the new movie? the sequels will be bigger. Let's face it, the reason why Ghostbusters Afterlife features a predominantly young cast is that Sony has long-term plans for this franchise. This movie is basically an origin story for the new team, but they might add to their ranks down the line. According to Dan Aykroyd, Ghostbusters feeds into the possibility of more follow-ups with this group and with others who want to join. We might not have to wait another 32 years for a freaking sequel next time around. As long as this movie makes the moolah, anything is possible. However, Dan's comments about others joining the fray are interesting, and they're reminiscent of the studio's mentality when they still had high hopes for the ill-fated, but highly entertaining, reboot. That movie was released with the intention of spawning countless spin-offs, including another live-action movie that would have been directed by the Russo brothers. Sony also planned to produce animated adventures, including a TV series called Ecto-Force and an untitled animated movie. The spin-offs would have placed Ghostbusters teams around the world, leaving the door open for a variety of different stories about heroic humans battling paranormal scallywags that consider themselves too Zool for school. Aykroyd's comments are certainly open to interpretation, but it sounds like the Ghostbusters Afterlife team sees this movie as a launchpad for an expanded universe. Jason Reitman agrees. Check out what he had to say on the matter.
What I'm excited for is the possibility of all kinds of Ghostbusters movies, and I'm hoping that you guys will join me on this one.
Now, it's time to hear from you. What are some of your predictions for Ghostbusters Afterlife? Let us know in the comments below. And if small-town horror stories are your thing, be sure to check out our latest Stranger Things video.